It's midday. Hello and welcome to Joy News today with me, Mama V. Owusu-Abuaje. Our headline this hour: head teacher at the center of the drowning of 9 pupils of the St. Charles Lewanga RC Junior High School in the Northern Region remanded by the Tamale Magistrate Court. Former UN Special Representative of the Secretary General for West Africa, Mohammed Ibn Chambers, is worried about the recent wave of military takeovers in the sub-region. And we also build up to that epic 1/8 clash in the National Science and Maths quiz going on in Kumasi. It's St. Thomas Aquinas coming up against St. Augustine's College and Anglo Senior High School. Details of these stories plus sports and business in the abridged version of the news. Please stay with us. Now, the head teacher at the center of the drowning of 9 pupils at St. Charles Lewanga RC Junior High School in the Saboba districts of the Northern Region has been remanded by the Tamale Magistrate Court. Emmanuel Chenjia took the children allegedly to harvest rice on his farm across the Uti River last Friday. One of the 2 boats which they were crossing the river with capsized, leading to the death of the pupils. Northern Regional correspondent Martina Bugri joins us live with more on what transpired in court. Martina, first of all, this particular head teacher was said to be traumatized. How did he look like in court today?
In court, his head into stage while the charges were being read. He had an unassuming posture and he looked tense at the proceedings, and once in a while would bow the head and then raise up, and then he continued through the proceedings, and then after the case was done, he was moved into the police vehicle and then sent back to prison.
So what has he been charged with?
He's been charged for manslaughter. In court today, the state prosecutor read the charges and it all summed up to manslaughter. They were charging him for manslaughter for the death of the 9 students.
Did he speak in court today?
No, he didn't speak. It is his lawyer who spoke, and he says that they do not agree with they do not support the charges of manslaughter leveled against his client. He had stated his arguments and also made the fact that the head teacher himself had handed over himself to the police, and so it was just fair that he was granted bail. The lawyer for the state disagreed and said that once proceedings were still on, the investigations was ongoing, it was just fair that they allow the state to be able to have ample time to do the investigation. And the judge who presided over the case, His Worship Amadi Isiku, agreed and said that he be remanded into prison custody to reappear on the 29th of this month. He didn't give reasons why he was remanded.
Okay, so the background to the story that we've heard, in terms of him taking the children to harvest rice on his farm, was that repeated in court?
Yes, those were part of the charges that were read in court, that he had sent so he had selected some children on the 11th, and on the 12th they had gone to the farm to harvest the rice, and the children were dispatched back to Saboba, while the head teacher had gone to thank the people who had given him the land, but he got to the river bank and met the disaster that had happened. And they said that he called the assemblyman to tell him what had happened, and the assemblyman invited the village folk, and he came to the river bank to help rescue the children. But it was safe. 9 of them had gone.
So I take it that they didn't take his plea?
No, his plea was not taken, and the plea for him to grant his bail was not taken.
Okay. Martina, just a little reminder again, when is the next court appearance?
29th of November.
All right. Martina, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much. Martina Bugri, our correspondent in Tamale, bringing us up to speed on this matter of the head teacher who had sent about 31 of his school children to harvest rice on his farm. He's been remanded into police custody, and police is still investigating the matter. Well, the district chief executive for Saboba, George Bengrini, says the District Security Council will be convening a meeting with teachers in the district to halt the practice of engaging pupils to turn their farms. He emphasized that any teacher caught flouting the law will be dealt with accordingly.
It has never come to my notice to the fact that students have been crossing River Oti to help their teachers in the farm. This is the first time I've heard of it, and this is the first time this thing has happened. And so Assembly do not have any information to the fact that students have been crossing River Oti to farms. But we know that most of our farmers here have their farms across the river. As I talk to you now, I have asked the director of GES to summon a teachers' deba on Wednesday next week. All the teachers are expected to be in that deba. And I am going to be very emphatic with them. I am going to tell them any teacher that will take even one student to his farm. If you are taking a student to farm, go and meet the parents. If the parents give you that opportunity to take his child or her child to farm, that is to you and the parents. But for teachers to take students from school to farm, any teacher that will be found doing this will be sanctioned. The head teacher that took the students to farm yesterday, as you indicated, is currently at the police custody. And I can bet you that we are going to use him to set as an example for others to learn lessons. It has never come to my notice to the...
Away from that, the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, says more than 570,000 candidates are sitting for this year's Basic Education Certificate Examinations, BECE. About 287,000 are males, whilst some 284 are females. The number of participating schools, according to WAEC, stands at 18,028. Director of Public Affairs at WAEC, Agnes Kujo, says the council has put in place measures to check cheating and leakage of exam papers. She spoke to Kujiyang Singh on the Super Morning Show.
A few things differently to ensure that we safeguard the integrity of the examination. As the exam progresses, I'm sure you will get to know. And we'll also let members of the public know after the end of the exam what we have done. We have also invited the National Intelligence Bureau to help us to monitor the examination, because we don't want any disturbances or any persons to try and then thwart the conduct of the exam in any way. So these are some of the arrangements that we have done.
And the voice you heard was that of Agnes Kujo. She speaks for the West Africa Examination Council. Joining us live is my colleague, Papa Nia Shali, who is with the WAEC team inspecting some of their, the centers where the exams is taking place. Papa Nia, what have you observed? Where have you been? Papani, there's a difficulty hearing what Papani Ashali is saying now. We're just going to work on that sound and bring you. He's been going around with some officials of the West Africa Examination Council who are inspecting some of their centers as the Basic Education Certificate examination begins today. Let's go back to Papani.
Hello. We are live here at the Accra Girls Senior Secondary School, where hundreds of students are also sitting for the examination. This morning, we'll be touring some of the centers within the Ayawaso North Municipality. We've been going around with folks from the West African Examination Council, WAEC, and the Education Directorate with the municipality as well. A lot has been coming through, but it is important to note that this is the first ever exams to come when GES decided to change the 3-term system, which is the trimester system, to the semester system as we have it now. So now we are going to, the students are having to go to school just twice in an academic year. The first paper for the morning just ended here at the Accra Girls' School after some delays. The paper was scheduled to start at 9 a.m. However, they started somewhere close to 10 a.m. Let me speak to some of the students who have taken part of the first paper for the day, and they are from Queen's Royal School. Your name?
Rauda Saeed Abdullah.
Wonderful. Great. So how did the first paper go for you? That was social studies, right?
Yeah. The first paper was, although tough, but we were able to go through it. And we know that by the grace of God, we will pass it well.
By the grace of God, we will pass it well. But in terms of the questions, was it hard or difficult?
It wasn't that hard because we learned it at school. We learned most of the questions at school. So we were able to write it and give good explanations to it. So we hope we pass.
Great. What about you? What's your name?
Gideon Tay.
Gideon Tay. How did the paper go for you? Hard or difficult?
So it was tough, but in everything we give thanks to God.
You give thanks to God. So are you happy after writing the social studies?
Yeah. Yeah.
So were you expecting an A?
Yeah, very. I'm expecting an A.
Wonderful. So you can hear from some of the students. Now, finally, though, this is the first time as well that we are writing social studies rather than English on a Monday. Did it disturb you in any way?
Yeah. When I heard that we are writing social studies, I was a little scared a bit because I was used to writing English. In all the examination, we were using the BECE old timetable, so we were writing English. When I heard social, I was a bit scared. I said that, okay, every subject is equal. We can learn with every subject with the application of knowledge. So I said social too can be very easy though, so I must learn it. So I studied hard. Wonderful. So I'm now a little okay. Wonderful.
What about you? Hearing social studies first, did it change anything for you at all?
No, I was not surprised.
Wow. It didn't change anything for you. Did you think that starting off on a good note will mean anything for you in the entire exams?
Oh yeah. If we start with a good practice or with a good something in the exams, you can apply all that you've learned to it. So, which means if you study hard, you gain from it. That's why. So we studied hard and we wrote the exams.
Wonderful. What about you?
Same.
We're expecting same from you. Thank you very much for talking to us. So, Mama V, you just heard from some of the students who just left the examination center at the Accra Girls Secondary School after going through the first paper for the morning, which is social studies, paper 1 and 2. They tell us that they are in high hopes that it's going to go. I have one of the teachers who accompanied some of the students to the center. Let me as well ask him, because this year, very first time that you are seeing a difference, a change in the timetable. Usually you see English paper start for your name and the school that you are with.
I'm Jonathan Achigani, and I'm an ICT teacher and the headmaster at the same time from Queen's Royal School.
Wonderful. So I've spoken to some of your students. As a teacher, what are your expectations for these exams?
In fact, I expect them to do well for certain reasons. If you look at the timetable this time, they made it such that you don't have 2 core subjects being written on the same day. It's a core subject and an elective subject, so we expect them to do well. Moreover, for the first time, we are writing under the semester. Previously, we had the term base, and this time we are using the semester. And because of the semester, we stayed in school for long this time. And I expect the children to do well.
Wonderful. So, as a teacher, you are expecting that the children are going to do well. But beyond that, the conversation in the country has always been about exam leakage and exam malpractices. How do you see some of these things?
I don't condone it, because I believe that the children should all have right on a fair ground, equal grounds. I don't believe that some should have an apple to write or whatever, and others will not have. So this time, I'm sure it's going to be fair, because so far I've not heard any Apo issue coming up, and they are going to write with their own ability, and I expect them to do well this time.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So that is Jonathan, one of the many teachers here at the school who are waiting for their students to finish the paper. This is just the first paper, social studies. The second paper for the day is going to be French. We have to write some words, the essay part first and then the objectives part second for the day. I mentioned that some things have changed this year. First was the change in the timetable. Secondly, because of COVID-19, we also see that some health personnel have also been dispatched in addition to the entire team that caters for the examination. So at Accra High, for instance, there was a health personnel on site to make sure that in the event that unforeseen things happened, the person is going to be on alert to do with some of these things. Again, they were taking the temperature of the students who had come to that particular center. Final change here will be that some of the students, before we know that they used to run into the following week, but this time the exams will end on Friday. So hopefully by Friday we can know from the students how the entire exams went. So Mama V, this is what has been happening here at the Accra Girls BECE School. Before I even forget though, we've also been going around with the directorate, the director for the education in the municipality, that's Ayawaso North. And she's been telling us that they've had some challenges in the past with some subjects, but this year they are dealing with it. One of the ways to deal with some of the things that have been happening is to dispatch monitors of a sort, monitoring personnel to be at every single center where the examination is being taken, so that they can make sure that the protocols that have been put on paper to guide the examinations, again, to check for some of the excesses like exam or practice and leakages. They are on site making sure that all of these things are done.
And that's Papani Ashali. We thank you for that updates there, reporting from the Accra Girls School, which is a center where students are sitting for this year's basic education certificate examination. As he interacted with a student there, they've just finished with their social studies paper. They're getting ready. 1 p.m. they will sit for the French paper as well. Away from that, Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagben says the legislature remains the weakest link in the governance structure of the country 28 years after the adoption of constitutional rule. According to him, Parliament has only existed to strengthen the executive arm of government at the detriment of the legislature. He described the situation as unacceptable, warning it will undermine the independence of the legislature if the trend is not changed. He was addressing a speaker breakfast meeting at the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, from where Prince Appiah joins me with more. Prince, what more has the speaker been saying, and who else has been speaking at this breakfast meeting? And Prince Appiah, you'd have to unmute so we can hear you.
So if you can hear me, Mama V, the speaker has also been speaking about the issue that the Medina MP has been going through now. He's been mentioning that it is very critical that Parliament legislate the scope and the nature of some of the interferences from some state institutions in the work of MPs and parliamentary proceedings in reference to what happened to Mr. Susu Francis Xavier. And so that is one of the things he's been saying. He's also been mentioning the need for the oversight responsibilities and the democratic nature of Parliament to be strengthened. And so the need for them to come down from Accra to Kumasi to engage the public and specific state institutions and other stakeholders on the proceedings of Parliament, what they do, their work, and what kind of contributions they need to strengthen their democratic nature. And so that is some of the things that they have been saying. And Haruna Idisu, the minority leader of Parliament, has also been mentioning the need for Parliament to come together and swear away from partisanship and ensure that they come together to ensure that most of the things they do in Parliament, their operations and their work are in the interest of the Ghanaian people.
Sophia, do we have all parliamentarians at this breakfast meeting? Otherwise, what kind of category of MPs are there today?
So not all the parliamentary MPs are here at the event, and they are the leaders of parliament are here, the minority leader, the majority leader, the clerks, most of them are here. And specifically, stakeholders from the Ashanti region, all state institutions, some civil society organizations, and they've narrowed it down to a lot of the stakeholders who are originating from the Ashanti region and who are operating here in the Ashanti region to take part in the democratic dispensation of parliament and also make contributions to how things can be done, their work brought to the ordinary people for the necessary engagement with the issues that they tend to file in parliament. And so those are the category of people who currently are partaking in the breakfast meeting, Mamavi.
Prince Apia reporting there live from Kumasi at the Speaker's breakfast meeting. We stay in the Ashanti region because the Chief Justice, Kwesi Enini-Yeboah, has observed the phenomenon of victims of abuse recounting details in the same room as alleged perpetrators during proceedings can lead to distortion of facts. He says the deficiency in physical and procedural aspects of courts negatively affect testimony of victims of child abuse, especially girls. The Judicial Service is seeking to make the courts child-friendly and is setting up specific court to prosecute cases of gender-based violence. Nana Ojima was at the inauguration of the second child-friendly gender-based violence court in the Ashanti region and filed this report.
About 50% of the world's children experience violence every year, and 1 in 10 children is sexually abused before the age of 18. In Ghana, statistics show close to 15,000 cases of violence against children are reported to law enforcement institutions annually. Over 38% of girls aged 15 to 19 years have reported having experienced at least one act of sexual violence. That's according to the 2016 Domestic Violence in Ghana report, compiled by the Ghana Statistical Service and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Chief Justice Enini-Yeboah says research points to several reasons hindering prosecution of child abusers.
It has become clear that in addition to resource constraints, lack of easy access to medical and forensic reports, social service support and other services needed for successful prosecution are among the issues we need to address urgently.
The child-friendly gender-based violence court forms part of measures to deal with the court structure that inhibits prosecution of domestic violence cases. The Chief Justice explains.
This court is fitted with facilities and equipment that will make the interaction with judicial process a more bearable for children. It will enable them to testify from a two-way video system, keeping them a step removed from their alleged abusers. It also has a playroom with toys and books that they can occupy themselves with while they await the trial. The direct transcription system will also increase the efficiency of the entire process by making records of proceedings available on the same day the case is heard.
2 new child-friendly gender-based violence courts were inaugurated in the Bono and Ashanti regions with support from UNICEF and the government of Denmark. 10 others are being established across the country. Tom Norin is the Danish ambassador to Ghana.
Empowering and protecting women and girls is crucial. We just know from the population and housing census that was carried out that more than 50%, actually 50.7% of Ghana's population is female. It is therefore unacceptable for a country like Ghana not to provide adequate protection to the majority of the population. Let us all put our shoulders to the wheel to work all year round to protect and empower women and girls.
Country representative for UNICEF, Anne-Claire Dufay, is hopeful the courts will be impactful in delivery of justice for victims of abuse.
As we all know, a fair, effective and efficient criminal justice system can protect the most vulnerable groups in society. The 10 new child-friendly courts and gender-based violence courts will encourage children and women to report violations. They will also help bring to justice the perpetrators so that they can be sentenced. Sexual abuse against children and women is a crime. It has to stop.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
And my name is Mama Vioso Abuaje. We'll take a breather for business with Daryl Kwao, after which we'll bring you sports. Stay with us.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. A process to revive Ghana's collapsed timber industry has begun. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor says government is treating it with all the urgency it deserves to make the industry viable again. The sector minister has been speaking in a meeting with staff of the London office of the Forestry Commission.
Whereas most importantly is the timber industry. We all are fully aware of the importance of timber to our economy, to our national economy, and even it being part of the national heritage of Ghana. But for some reason, through systematic actions and inactions and commissions and omissions over the years, we've lost that industry. Ghana really does not have a timber industry worth its salt again. Timber industry in words, but on the ground, the industry does not exist. And we have, at the ministry, in accordance with the thinking of the president, began a very robust effort to revive the timber industry in our country. The deputy minister has just been briefing me that a report of a task force I put together to interrogate the industry in its totality is ready for presentation when we return to Accra. And I believe that you will play a critical role if we are going to revamp this industry. All the linkages of the industry, the full contours of that industry, whether it's at the point of the plantations or the point of the kind of machineries which are required by the people who process the timber and so on and so forth, and also getting private involvement in that sector and all of that. I believe this office is going to play a critical role.
The Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Wusufi Akoto, has charged members of the board of the Irrigation Company of Upper Region to work hard and ensure the business is successful. Tono Irrigation Project, one of its mandates, has failed to live up to expectation despite an investment of $36 million. According to him, it is the biggest investment ever made in the agric sector, yet lack of proper management has led to the collapse of the irrigation system. He was speaking at the inauguration of the new board for the Irrigation Company of Upper Region. The Tono Dam is one of the largest agricultural dams in West Africa, located in the Upper East region. It was built in 1970. However, it has been malfunctioning for 14 years now. Speaking at the inauguration of the new board of the Irrigation Company of the Upper East region, the Agric Minister admonished the members to use new management techniques to be productive.
Tono Irrigation Rehabilitation Program is in its 4th or 5th year. And the total investment cost is about $36 million. The original project was initiated in the middle of the 1970s. And the scheme, because of lack of proper management, maintenance, and so on, has been allowed to run down over the 40 years or so. There have been new changes to ensure that we don't go and borrow another $38 million in the next 40 years. And I'm appealing to the new board, which I've just sworn in, to be up and doing, to have vision and to have drive to bring new power into that project.
Managing Director of Irrigation Company of Upper East Region, Dr. Benedict Bonaventure, indicated that measures are being put in place to monetize the operations of irrigation to boost food production in the country.
It was a dilapidated scheme. All these works have come in, so we are now planning to come into serious farming with these cash crops. In fact, like the Honorable Regional Minister has said, we have had several meetings planning to come in to make sure that people don't go to Burkina again. This time is not farming as usual. It's farming as a business. And the 3 meetings that we have had even including the stakeholders, like those who come to buy the tomatoes. It is that they are coming to sign contracts with what we have in our schemes, like the water use associations, so that they will come and take off the produce.
Meanwhile, chairman of the board, who doubles as the regional minister of the Upper East region, Stephen Yakubu, has assured that his outfit will work hard to achieve the core mandate of the Tono irrigation project in 2 years.
On behalf of the board, I want to assure Honorable Minister that we'll make sure the core mandate of Tono will be achieved. And we are going to run Tono as business in the Upper East to make sure that we produce the results. I think I have met management, not manager, I've met the CEO in our discussions, and I've actually tasked them that within 2 years, I don't want Ghanaians to cross the border to buy tomatoes anymore. And already we are taking a lot of steps to make sure this happens.
And that's business for now. My name is Daryl Kwao. Sports is coming up next. Time now for sports on Joy News today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. South Africa are set to make a formal complaint about questionable decisions made by the match officials in Sunday's 1-0 defeat by Ghana. This is according to the Chief Executive Officer of the South Africa, Motlanthe. Bafana Bafana needed a draw to reach the final round of the qualifying campaign for the 2022 World Cup, but Ghana won with a controversial penalty. The Black Stars' narrow win enabled them to reach the African World Cup playoffs by the narrowest of margin, ousting South Africa at the top of the group on goals scored.
From our heart is to say the match officials have decided the game, which is not what is supposed to happen. So we as the association, we have decided that we will be writing to both CAF and FIFA first to investigate how the game was angled, and secondly to also challenge some of these decisions. So we have agreed that as we did last night, we have already registered with the match commissioner that we will be writing a formal complaint. Today we are traveling, of course. Wednesday we will then have a press conference. After we'll have done we have ticked all our boxes and submit, of course, a full complaint which is supported by all the evidence which was there, to say that game either it was indeed manipulated or the referees had done something wrong before that game, but we are very disheartened by their action and we can't leave it and let it destroy the players. When we have the chance to challenge it, we will challenge it. We feel very, very much robbed because it is not an isolated incident of a penalty. There are just a lot of questionable decisions by match officials. And of course, that's why we said we will get an expert which will just dissect what are the incidents so that we can make a strong case. And of course, we are looking at the precedents which FIFA set by ordering us to replay Senegal. And we think if justice needs to be served, the same decision needs to be taken against this Ghana game.
South Africans have expressed their reservations about the performance of the referee as well as the penalty that was awarded to the Black Stars. However, Black Stars skipper Andre does not agree with the sentiment of the South African FA. Ayew believes the penalty awarded to Ghana was a legitimate one.
As I said earlier on, it's a great feeling to get to 100. I think I'm the second after my big brother Asamoah. So I keep working, trying to follow his footsteps and trying to make our nation proud. I think scoring it's important to win. If you score and you don't have the win, then sometimes it's like you're not happy. 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, sorry, scored, but at the end of the game, we're not happy because we didn't know what was going to happen in the South Africa game. So I mean, all this works, but it's all teamwork. I did not create the penalty; it came from Dan to give me the opportunity to step forward and do what I had to do. So it's all about teamwork. We work together. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I think you people don't realize it wasn't easy after the Ethiopia game. But to see what I saw today on the pitch, can we play better? Yes, we can play better. But the desire, the fighting spirit, the unity, the tactical ability that we showed today, I'm so proud, and I hope that we'll continue like this and even become better when we'll have time to train more with coach and everybody will understand his tactics. Well, yes, we won fair and square. I think we had more clear chances. Yes, it was a tough game. South Africa came in, they did their job, but we won this game fair and square. We could have scored more. And I think the penalties was not one. There was a clear penalty on Jordan also. So it was, I think, the other way around. The referee should have taken two penalties. But it's part of the game. What this is, we are happy that we have won and that we are going to the next round. And there is a big job to do in March.
We'll have details of the report that was filed by SAFA to FIFA and CAF when we lay our hands on it. For now, we say thanks very much for joining us for sports, but you can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. Up next is World News.
And they came in as underdogs, but ended up cruising into the quarterfinal stage in a convincing win against Holy Child Senior High School and Kumasi High School. All the way from the Volta region, Sunrise Senior High School caused the sun to set on their opponents' dreams of advancing into the next stage of the competition. If you are shocked, then get some more absorbers, because the boys say they have more shocks ahead.
Came into the contest against Holy Child School and then Kumasi High School as the underdogs, but in quite an interesting twist of event, Sunrise SHS, what they did in 2018, they have repeated this year, just as they dispatched Opoku School in 2018. This year, in the very first preliminary contest, 8-stage contest in the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz, they have sent packing Holy Child and Kumasi High School. Well, they are in this region, so perhaps their journey will be short up back home. But congratulations, guys. How does it feel? I mean, you came into the contest and it was as though you were not really expected to do anything, but bit by bit, right from the first round, you cemented your spot. How does it feel?
Yeah, I feel so nice to win this contest. It does not be easy. It does not be easy to go this far, but we have put in many preparation to come this far. I know Holy Child, they are a very big school, but we are the underdogs over here. It feels very, very bad, but hey, indeed, we are all students. Okay. We all have the brains that they have. Right. That is why we made it to the quarterfinal. I'm just so happy. I'm so good.
I mean, and you deserve to be happy, but tell me, what was the secret?
There is no secret. Okay. The thing is that we've been learning hard, that's all. And they are students like us, as he said, and the books that they are using, maybe we are not using their book, or maybe we are even using advanced book more than them. So the thing is that this is a competition, and we came here fully prepared to win almost every contest. We are here to win every contest, and you guys watch out.
Tell me, what should we expect from you?
Oh, you should expect us to rise above others. We are from Sunrise, as the name goes. The sunrise, as the sun, as in Christ, Jesus Christ. Okay. He rose, right? Okay. So we are children of God. So we will rise above them. So you just expect, the optimum best. Okay. Yeah, we are going to pull down all strongholds.
Meanwhile, the girls from Holy Coast started quite strongly, just could not sustain that strength with which they started. Eventually, lost out to Sunrise. I mean, I'm really sad that I have to speak to you under these circumstances. But how do you feel, anyway?
You're fine. You're a little sad, but then it's cool.
It was not a bad performance at all.
Not at all. Maybe our speed race was a little bit slow, but then that's all. We're just quite unfortunate.
But did you underestimate the guys from Sunrise?
No, please. We've been watching their content, so we know them. Then we've been practicing, but unfortunately, the speed race didn't go well for us.
Interestingly, some of the girls came all the way to support them here in the Ashanti region. Let me talk to them. You are former students from Holiko, right? I mean, you had high hopes of now you're expecting to be running your mouth now. Are you still able to run your mouth?
Of course. Holy Child is still the best school in Ghana, so obviously, whether they lose or win, we are still all students of Holy Child and we always support our school.
But when you say Holy Child is still the best school, how do you substantiate that?
We don't base performance on NSMQ. Okay. Holy Child is always the best, and we will continue to be the best.
Okay, so does that mean that next year you're not coming for science and math quiz?
We are coming. We are coming with stronger, everything like better than this year.
Quite terrible that you people would have to start from the preliminary stage next year. What will be your advice to the students who are going to come after you? I mean, what should they be looking out for?
Okay, I'll tell them to learn how to not underestimate any other school, because actually some of us thought we can easily beat the Sunrise, but they surprised us that they're actually good. So I'm telling them that they shouldn't underestimate any school because everyone is good. Yeah.
So when I say action, what do you say?
Northwest.
Action.
Northwest.
Action.
Northwest.
Action.
Northwest.
Today they are giving us West. They didn't give us action, but these are the girls from Holy Child.
The build-up for that epic 1/8 clash in the National Science and Maths quiz between St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine's College and Agnot Senior High starts shortly. Stay with us. That's it for Joy News today. My name is Mama Vioswabwadi. Thanks for watching.